Public utilities have been stereotyped in the past as stodgy and never changing. You've been heading the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities since 2014. Have you been able to understand these stereotypes?
Well, first of all, I would say that this is rather a stereotype generalization. It's true that structurally and legally, most parastatal bodies follow a similar pattern. That is all over the world, especially in post-colonial Africa. That doesn't mean that all parastatal bodies are in the same vein. If I take my ministry, let me first take the Central Electricity Board. Isn't it amazing? We are perhaps the only country where a parastatal body has been able to achieve 100% electrification all over the country. See what happened after the latest cyclone in Rodrigues. Within 4 days, electricity supply had been restored. Now that is not a stodgy organization. That is a vibrant, dynamic parastatal body. We ensure electricity security. Wastewater Management Authority. Just see what was happening in the former audit reports pre-2014, and we see what was the status of this of wastewater. Today, just read the report of the Director of Audit of the National Audit Office, and you will see how there has been a lot of streamlining and a lot of betterment in the performance of the Wastewater Management Authority. The same goes even for the Central Water Authority, which has been able to achieve water supply, good water transmission, much better, much progress has been accomplished compared to what it was in 2014. So I do not agree to this generalization.
What is the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities doing to help achieve the ambitious Mauritian government's vision of a smart Mauritius?
Smart Mauritius is a long-term strategy. It is a long-term vision. We are thoroughly embarked in making of Mauritius a smart country, a smart island, Mauritius and Rodrigues. Electricity supply, first of all, as well as water distribution, is necessary for the achievement of smart Mauritius. We have Saint-Louis Power Station. We have major sewage treatment plant capacities which are being worked at. All this is going to guarantee that we can accommodate the new development of Mauritius.
Can you unpack for us the Smart Grid roadmap for Mauritius? What are the objectives of this blueprint?
Well, the Smart Grid roadmap has been developed. First of all, removal of barriers to solar energy. Very important. We need to develop solar energy. And indeed, between 2015 and today, as I said in my last statement in Parliament, we have progressed intensively in the field of solar energy. Internationally, we are part of the International Solar Alliance. We have now reached 11 solar farms in Mauritius, and solar energy is now an important part of our electricity mix. We have developed a grid absorption capacity, and with the World Bank support, we know that the grid can be addressed through centralized solutions, improvement of existing generation control systems, implementation of automatic generation control infrastructure, and the installation of lithium-ion batteries. And already now we are installing, and we have installed, batteries for storage of solar energy. We can go on. We have a smart grid program which is absolutely crucial to the economic development of Mauritius.
Mauritius is faced with challenges like water scarcity, dependence on fossil fuel, and aging infrastructures. What is being done to address those challenges?
Water is probably the issue which poses greater problems because of climate change. Our climate has become extremely unpredictable. It is raining when it shouldn't rain, and it's not raining when we're expecting rain. And our resource, we do not have big rivers like we have in Africa. We don't have the Nile. Our water only comes from rainfall. We are totally dependent of rainfall. Now, most of our water supply comes from aquifers, that is underground water. We also have reservoirs. But all these are dependent on God. Then comes the issue of the transmission of water down to your house. And that is my principal role. I cannot control God, but I can control men. And the control of the men force is the most important matter in water distribution. Now, we need to be very cautious in the management of water resources, and that is where I think Mauritians have failed Mauritius, because we do not respect water. And it is an education process. It is a huge campaign that has got to be done in order to enhance the efficiency of the use of water. We have an old supply infrastructure. I was looking at the water pipe issue in La Brasserie. The pipe was 132 years old. Nothing had been done to renew these pipes. We have that problem all over Mauritius. We are engaged in a tremendous program for renewal of our water pipe infrastructure. We are building a new treatment plant at Bagatelle, and that is going also to enhance water supply.
You recently stated that LNG is the future and is a must for Mauritius. Where are we with this project, and why is it of paramount importance?
Well, liquefied natural gas is a must not only for Mauritius, but for the whole of the Indian Ocean. 57% of our fuel emanates from coal, 26.8% from fuel oil. Now, this is extremely polluting. I'm not talking of costs, I'm talking of pollution. We need, and it is our international obligation following the COP21 meeting in Paris, the UNFCCC. And there is an obligation on Mauritius to reduce carbon emissions and therefore to shift away from fuel oil and coal. The Indian Ocean, countries like Mozambique, even Madagascar, probably certain areas north of the Mozambique Channel, are medium-term and for Mozambique short-term producers of LNG. We have sources of supply. Prices are tolerable, and this is the future for Mauritius. Now, I'm not inventing anything. This has been on the agenda of the strategic thinking of Mauritius, especially of the CEB, since 2003. We have now explored not only LNG for electricity generation, but for bus transport, bunkering. What is happening is that more and more cruise ships especially, but also cargo ships, are now running on LNG. The problem of LNG on ships is that when they leave Singapore, where there is a huge LNG facility, they have just enough LNG in their stock to drive and to reach Mauritius, and there is no renewable of stock. Therefore, they need to refuel with LNG, and that is where we can come in with adequate bunkering. Our, of course, civil society, that is houses, buildings, government buildings, can run on gas for many purposes. So LNG must be the future. Now, the SADC, the South African Development Corporation, as all community, has already decided that LNG must be a regional feature, and we're already part of that organization for the increase of LNG within the energy mix of our community.
When will the Renewable Energy Roadmap be published?
In 2013, before I took office, there was the National Energy Commission. It published a report. I didn't consider that it was worthwhile to lose time to try and reinvent the wheel. That has been the basis of the roadmap for renewable energy, and it has worked. I've given figures at the Legislative Assembly last Tuesday, and we've seen what fantastic development we have made. The roadmap is already charted. It is principally centered on solar energy. Now, what we have done is amazing. We have constructed not only solar farms, that is for the production of electricity from sun. We have also encouraged small-scale distribution generation, that is rooftop on houses, with fiscal incentives. For instance, you can abate your income tax with all the investments that you have made in the purchase of equipment, including batteries, etc. And that is a great incentive. Medium scale, like supermarkets, I can give the name Super Rue in fact is a brilliant example of what can be done with the sun. But also what is probably the subject of pride, which I have, is the home solar project. Do you realize there are 1,000 houses, low-income households, that is, households which are on the social register of Mauritius. They have been given solar PV kits free of charge. It produces electricity and it also receives electricity, which means that poor households today are getting electricity free of charge without spending 1 cent. And that is going to be generalized. We got the first prize from the Abu Dhabi Development Fund and IRENA, and we've received substantial funding for that project. Do you know that we were the first country, because of our commitment to solar energy and renewable energy, to obtain money from the Green Climate Fund? And do you know how much? $28 million, which is approximately 1 billion rupees. That is because of our intensive program. So our aim, and we are achieving that aim, is to reduce our dependency on coal and fuel. And mind you, it's true that bagasse is also being used, it's biomass, and we need to continue that program. But with what is happening to the sugar industry, bagasse is being reduced in the energy mix. And in any case, it was never very important in electricity generation, because in fact coal was the principal agent. The policy differences between the opposition and myself are fundamental, but the future of Mauritius depends on the right choices being made at the right time, that is now.
Can we dream of a greener Mauritius, much less dependent on fossil fuels? If so, how long will it realistically take for this to happen?
We are committed, in any case, to 30% carbon emission reduction by 2030. We are committed in any case, and those are international commitments to increase our production of, to reduce our dependency on fossil fuels. We are progressing towards that goal. Can we achieve 100% like some islands are almost achieving? That is something else. Let us not be unduly optimistic. Let us not be dreamers, but let us work realistically towards achieving this goal.
What do you see as the next major development in terms of public utilities?
The next development must be an intensification of renewable energy.